Hello and welcome to all the viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ubong Soro. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365. We are also on Star Times channel 276. The Senate has passed for second reading a bill seeking to repeal the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Act of 2019 and introduce a new legal framework to strengthen funding for the Nigeria Police Force. The proposed legislation, titled the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Bill 2026, aims to ensure sustainable financing for police equipment, training and personnel welfare, while also establishing a revised structure for funding the force. Deliberations on the floor were heated, with lawmakers sharply divided over the constitutionality of funding the trust fund through deductions from the Federation account. The House of Representatives passed legislation seeking a major overhaul of the National Assembly internal security structure by professionalizing the office of the Sergeant-at-Arms and placing its leadership firmly within the parliamentary service system. The bill provides that the head of the National Assembly Security Directorate, known as the Sergeant-at-Arms, will henceforth be appointed by the National Assembly Service Commission from among serving personnel of the legislature rather than from retired military or external security officers, or as often been the case. The push for reforms gained momentum in the wake of repeated security breaches within the National Assembly complex, including the 2018 invasion of the Senate chamber and the seizure of the maze, as well as broader concerns about vulnerability of Nigeria's foremost legislative institution. The lawmaker representing Ikeja Federal Constituency, James Falake, has officially collected the All Progressive Congress APC expression of interest and nomination forms on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ahead of the 2027 presidential election. The APC National Organizing Secretary, Suleiman Argungu, in Abuja declared the commencement of the sales of nomination forms and formally presented the documents to Falake, who is also known as a key figure within the Tinubu support groups. The development comes as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has officially released its timetable for the 2027 general elections. Former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has disclosed that his closed-door meeting with former President Goodluck Jonathan focused on Nigeria's future amid ongoing political consultation ahead of the 2027 general elections. He made the disclosure in a post on X shortly after meeting, stressing that Nigeria's current challenges demand stronger collaboration among leaders across regional lines. Anita Patrick reports.
Obi, who led a delegation of Southeast leaders to Jonathan's residence, described the engagement as productive, noting that discussions were centered on national unity, security, stability, and inclusive governance. According to him, the country is facing worsening economic hardship, insecurity, and social divisions, making it necessary for leaders to come together to consult and act in the national interest. Obi also emphasized that Nigeria needs leadership driven by competence, character, capacity, and compassion rather than personal ambition.
On 2027 elections, and overall about Nigeria, the Southeast leaders, and you can see all of us here. See him in the categories we have gone to see former President Obasanjo, former President Babangida, former President. So that is the category we are seeing now. They are not defecting. They are fathers now. They are not defecting. They are not involved. But we need to consult them because, especially someone like him, who served the country very faithfully, focused, and did what is expected of democracy. In this declining situation, you consult him. No, that wasn't even in discussion. And you know I'm contesting, so I wouldn't be pleading for the two candidates. I just came for consultation of the 2027 election.
He further called for a shift in Nigeria's economic direction from consumption to production, arguing that the nation must fully harness its human and natural resources for development. Looking ahead, Obi described the 2027 general elections as a defining moment for the country, urging that it should be about improving education, supporting entrepreneurs, and building a secure and functional nation. Adiyete Patrick, Global TV News.
President Bola Tinubu has charged Nigeria's ambassadors designate to firmly protect and promote the nation's interests in their respective host countries. The president, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, gave the directive during the induction ceremony for ambassadors and high commissioners designate held in Abuja. Kikelomo Okere has the details.
President Bola Tinubu, represented by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, urged the envoys to uphold the highest standards of integrity, discipline and professionalism while projecting a positive and accurate image of Nigeria on the global stage. He stressed the need for modern, results-driven diplomacy that goes beyond protocols, with strong focus on attracting trade, foreign direct investment, technology transfer, and strategic partnership capable of driving national development.
To the government statements of the acting Minister of Foreign Affairs, Her Excellency Bianca Ojukwu, and I believe it's going to form a major platform for you to discuss, to digest, for your positives, whether large or small. Today I happen to know so many of you here by your first name, so I don't know what to say. I wish you the best.
Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Bianca Ojukwu tasked the ambassadors designated with deepening Nigeria's economic diplomacy by promoting trade, investment opportunities and tourism, while also ensuring efficient consular services and stronger engagement with Nigerians in diasporas. She noted that their roles remain critical in strengthening bilateral ties and advancing the country's foreign policy objectives.
Your actions, your decisions, and your engagements will shape perceptions about Nigeria and influence the strength of our bilateral and our multilateral relations.
The ambassadors designate pledged loyalty to the nation and assured Nigerians of their commitment to protecting the country's image, defending national interest, and delivering on their diplomatic responsibility in various countries of assignment.
We need to ensure that Nigeria is restored in terms of its legitimacy and its strength and its power on the international scene. And of course, we need to protect the interests of the Nigerian community within that particular jurisdiction.
As the diplomats prepare to assume duty across the world, expectations remain high that they will strengthen Nigeria's voice in global affairs, building strategic alliance, sustain peaceful relations, and reinforce the country's standing in the international community. Kikelomo Okere, Global TV News.
The presidency has pushed back against what it's described as false narrative that President Bola Tinubu has neglected the Northwest, saying the administration has made significant investments in infrastructure, health, and transportation across the region. The rebuttal was made at the pre-tour media briefing in Abuja, convened by the Renewed Hope ambassadors ahead of a nationwide project showcase tour that will begin in Kaduna and other Northwest states. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Special Duties, Tunde Rahman, said the visit was designed specifically to counter the perception that the president had not kept faith with the region. A fresh xenophobic violence in South Africa has claimed the lives of 2 Nigerians, triggering fear and panic within the diaspora community and prompting urgent diplomatic engagement by the federal government. The development comes as Nigerians living in South Africa demanded protection by the federal government, saying that protecting Nigerians abroad is both a constitutional and moral obligation of the government. The Nigerian Consulate General in Johannesburg confirmed that Amari Remo Emmanuel and Ikpeyong Andrew were killed in separate incidents linked to the rising anti-foreigner tensions. The Nigerian Army has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening joint operations and inter-agency collaboration to tackle security challenges in the Northwest. The General Officer commanding 8th Division, Major General Bama Kuna, stated this while hosting participants of the Air Force War College course during a study tour of the division's headquarters in Sokoto. Kuna described the visit as timely, noting that collaboration between land and air components remains critical to achieving lasting security and supporting national development. The federal government is partnered with local and international organizations to curb violent extremism in correctional facilities. Coordinator, National Counter-Terrorism Center, Major General Adamu Laka, revealed this at a workshop titled Countering Violent Extremism in Custodial Centers in Nigeria. Laka said custodial centers play an important role in national security, but could become centers of radicalization if not properly managed. The initiative is part of efforts to strengthen internal security and the government's de-radicalization programs. The federal government has invited the leadership of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities and Allied Institutions to a meeting on Wednesday, April 29, 2026. The meeting is in a bid to avert the looming strike by 2 university-based unions. The strike straight followed the ongoing row on the proposed 30% pay rise for the unions. The rise was announced by the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa. Alausa, in a later address to the National Universities Commission, National Commission for Colleges of Education, and the National Board for Technical Education, announced a 30% pay rise in salaries of non-academics in federal government-controlled universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. The Kwara State Muslim Pilgrim Welfare Board has commenced the vaccination of intending pilgrims for the 2026 Hajj, signaling a major step in preparations for a safe and successful pilgrimage to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The disclosure was contained in a statement issued by the board's Assistant Press Secretary, Abdul Momin Sadiq, in Ilori, the state's capital. The vaccination conducted by the Port Health Services include immunization against oral polio, meningitis, and yellow fever, which are mandatory for all pilgrims traveling to Saudi Arabia. You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecast. We'll come back with business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us.
Glad to have you join us. We've experienced strong winds across the Federal Capital Territory, with storms popping up in several parts of the country and bringing periods of heavy rainfall. Heading into Wednesday, we're looking at contrasting weather conditions nationwide, as parts of Yobe, Borno, Jigawa, Katsina, and northern parts of Bauchi State are expected to remain in slight dust haze. Meanwhile, thunderstorms are likely over parts of Cross River and Akwa Ibom. Well, later in the day, especially towards evening, isolated thunderstorms may develop across many parts of the coastal states, as well as parts of Oyo and its adjoining cities. These storms could extend into Imo, Abia, Enugu, and reach the Federal Capital Territory, Plateau, Nasarawa, Kwara, Niger, extending towards Taraba and Kaduna states. And that's the forecast. Let's take a look at how these conditions will influence the temperature forecast. Do join us again.
Welcome back from that break. Now let's go to business. Nigeria is set to record its highest non-oil export performance in 2025, with exports valued at $6.1 billion and a total volume of 8.02 million metric tons. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, Noye Ayeni, who disclosed this at the Women Exporters Conference held in Abuja, said the figures have been the highest in the nation's history. Kike Lomogere has the details.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, Noye Ayeni, stressed that small and medium enterprise remain the backbone of Nigeria's economy, accounting for 96% of businesses nationwide. Addressing stakeholders at the conference themed Strengthening Women-Led Businesses for Resilience, Recovery and Inclusive Economic Growth, Ayeni noted that despite Nigeria's vast natural resources, human capital and entrepreneurial strength, the country still account for only 0.26% of global trade, describing the gap as a major opportunity for economic expansion and wealth creation. She emphasized that women remain central to this growth story, revealing that women account for about 40% of SMEs in Nigeria and continue to drive agriculture, manufacturing, processing, trade, and service across the export value chain.
So women are very significant, and they contribute significantly to economic development of this country. They are across different segments of the economy, from agriculture to processing to trade to services. They are building businesses, creating value, and holding key positions across export value chain.
The Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, who was represented by Angelina Nwokocha, noted that women-led businesses still face major barriers, including limited access to finance, markets, technology, and capacity building opportunities, stressing that addressing these challenges is essential for national growth. She says the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs is committed to creating an enabling environment where women-led enterprise can flourish through improved access to affordable finance, targeted training programs, innovation support, and stronger policy framework that promotes gender equality in business ownership and leadership.
Investing in women entrepreneurs is a strategic investment in sustainable development and national prosperity.
As Nigeria pushes for economic diversification beyond oil, stakeholders insist that empowering women and strengthening SMEs remain the fastest route to sustainable growth, job creation, and global competitiveness.
I congratulate all women exporters that are here today to improve and to add value to the businesses you are doing.
And this is why empowering women-led businesses is not charity, but is smart economics. When a woman succeeds in business, families are strengthened. When women access markets, communities prosper. When women export, the nation earns. And
with record-breaking non-oil exports already setting a new national benchmark, the message from Abuja is clear. The future of Nigerian economy will be shaped by women, driven by exports and powered by enterprise. Kike Lomo Okere, Global TV News.
Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited says the state-owned firm crude oil trading has hit 1.171 million barrels per day, the highest in 5 years. Similarly, the NNPC Exploration and Production Limited has also achieved an all-time peak production of 365,000 barrels per day in December of 2025. This was contained in the one-year scorecard of the company released. The report also said in the period under review, the Petroleum Prospecting Licensing 2000 and 2001 production sharing contract model were successfully executed. The Bank of Industry, Nigeria's foremost development finance institution, has been recognized by the Global Finance magazine as the best bank in sustainable finance. Nigeria at the 2026 Global Sustainable Finance Awards. The recognition affirms BOI's commitment to embedding sustainability at the heart of its operation and lending strategy. The award reflects the bank's significant strides in advancing climate action, circular economy practices, and responsible resource management. To tackle Nigeria's worsening jet fuel shortage and price surge, the federal government has asked marketers to grant airline operators a 30-day credit window and sell aviation fuel directly to them. The development is sequel to a series of high-level engagements convened by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority following an earlier meeting called by the Minister of Aviation and Airspace Management. The session brought together representatives of the Ministries of Aviation and Petroleum Resources as well as the major aviation agencies including the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, airline operators, and aviation fuel marketers. On the foreign scene, the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has urged South Africa to end xenophobic attacks and the intimidation of foreign nationals in the country. Guterres, in a statement, expressed deep concern over the situation and strongly condemned criminal acts and incitement to violence against migrants in parts of KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape Province. He reminded the international community that South Africa's struggle against apartheid was built on the foundation of global and African solidarity. In sports, Nigeria's women's national basketball team, the Tigers, suffered a second consecutive defeat on their United States tour after falling 88-79 to the Minnesota Lynx. The Tigers started strongly, matching the tempo of their opponents in a fast-paced opening period that ended narrowly at 27-26 in favor of Minnesota. The game remained closely contested throughout the first half, with the Lynx edging the second quarter 19-17 to take a 46-43 lead into the break, before gradually asserting control in the third period with a 21-16 advantage. Nigeria is targeting a record-breaking medal haul at the forthcoming Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, with the National Sports Commission expressing confidence in the country's readiness for the global competition. Director General of the Commission, Bukola Olopade, said Team Nigeria could surpass internal projections to win as many as 22 gold medals, signaling an ambitious outlook as preparations intensify. Olopade outlined the Federation's medal expectations, noting that while the elite athletes' podium finish initiative has set a target of 18 gold medals, there were growing beliefs within the camp that the feature could be exceeded. And that's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder, Global TV is on DSTV channel 365. We are also on Star Times channel 276. Kindly do follow us across all social media platforms on your screen, or please use @Global TV NG. I am Ubong Usoro. Bye for now.